Start your station today with Radio.co. Start your station today with Radio.co. Start your station today with Radio.co.
Hi, and thanks for joining us for this live event. I'm Jamie, and today I'm joined with Jim from support.
Hello.
Radio.co, and we're going to be talking about a few different things. Firstly, we'll be running through some radio essentials, some features from Radio.co from the past year. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the features ahead in 2018. And finally, we're going to run through the top 10 most common questions you guys asked us from last year. And
So just following on from that as well, we're also going to be doing a question and answer session at the end. So what we want you guys to do is leave us a comment on Facebook or YouTube, wherever you're watching. Leave us a comment. What do you want to ask us, and we'll answer that at the end.
On the blog as well, if you've got any questions, just fire them on the blog. So I think to get things started.
So I think what we're going to do first is we're going to talk about some features that we worked on last year. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over to a quick presentation for you. So first, one of the smaller things we worked on last year was volume normalization. What it basically does is it takes all of your tracks and it just kind of makes them one consistent level. So what it means is that you get a consistent sound across all of your tracks. So your broadcast sounds much more professional. What we'll do at the end is I'll show you some stuff.
Just run through. And volume normalization, by the way, is I've actually used this myself, and it's really good because I've had some tracks that have been really, really loud because I've listened. If you listen on the radio station, like, all the audio level are the same. You never get a song that's too high or too low. But what we've noticed is with some radio stations is some of the songs are really, really loud, and it just deafens the listeners. So obviously this feature, the volume normalization, kind of just sort of flattens everything out in a way, so it's all like on one level. So it's a pretty cool feature, really.
Yeah, it's really cool. So if you've not heard of that one yet, I'd definitely check that one out if that's something you'd be interested in. The next one we're going to the next one we're going to look at is really interesting. It's going to really revolutionize the way that you do your shows. So the next one is voice tracking.
Yeah.
What it lets you do is it lets you record parts of your shows directly in the browser. So you can just quickly select a microphone, you can record the audio, and then afterwards you can set up the track information for it and then throw it straight into your playlist. So that just lets you really quickly and easily build your playlist from scratch and make pre-recorded shows essentially sound live. It's a really interesting feature.
Yeah, and the radio station that we work on, MCI Live, they actually use this feature.
They do.
Yeah, and they use it in their playlist as well. Sometimes for when they want something to sound like live, like you just mentioned then, they just sort of add it in with some tracks and they break it out. But they can do this like at the start of the day, and so they can talk about current news and events, make it more relevant, and get an entire playlist for like the end of the day. Schedule it with the voice tracks, and then just let it run. And it's a pretty handy tool that they use all the time.
Yeah, and it definitely speeds them up in what they do as well, because usually what you do is you'd have everything you'd record everything in your studio, and then you'd export it, and then you'd upload it, and then you'd have to change all the information, and then you'd be able to you'd be able to add it to your playlist.
Yeah.
So it just takes out all of that stuff at the start, and then lets you throw it straight in. It's a really great feature, and another one that I'd really highly recommend checking out if you've not done so yet. So the next one, which I'd like to talk about, is the track editor. It's something we've been working on for quite a while now. We did have kind of like a beta version ready at the end of 2016, but when it got to the start of 2017, we completely rebuilt it. And what it now allows you to do is it allows you to add on custom artwork to the tracks. So if you've got some tracks which don't have quite the correct artwork, or if the information isn't all there, you can just add it straight. You can add it straight in, right in the browser, and you wouldn't have to mess around, editing your ID3 tags, because that's all just complicated. We just make that really simple. You can just do that straight in the browser.
And you can also do the custom fitting in and out points, which are pretty cool.
Yeah, so that's another major feature of the track editor. So what you can do is you can say if you've got a lot of silence at the start and end of your tracks. Yeah. I forgot what the definition was there. Yeah. So if you've got a lot of silence, if you've got a lot of silence at the start and end of your tracks, what you can do is you can just really nicely tuck it in, and then you can adjust the fade points as well for that specific track. So you can really fine-tune your station's output and make everything sound really professional.
Yeah, like a lot of Pink Floyd songs, like start off really quiet and then they sort of go up, so you can sort of segue.
Yeah, exactly. If you want to skip
a little,
that out.
You can skip over a little bit of it, or like to make it a bit more seamless.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Yeah.
So what we want to talk about next then, it's another major feature that we've done. It's really allows your listeners to really connect with the station. This is interactive track requests, of course. So what it lets you do is you can embed a little widget onto your site, and then your listeners can go to the website. They can then choose a track that they want to play, and then that sends the request straight through to your radio station. So then what you can do with this widget, I've kind of skipped over that, but what you can do with the widget is you can customize it completely to fit your website. You can just throw it straight on there with a simple code, and then that lets your listeners start straight away using that. After they've actually sent the request, it'll go through to your dashboard. You can then manage those requests. Say if there's a track that you don't like, you don't want that to play, then you can put that back. You can get rid of that, and then that won't play then.
Yeah, and as well, if you're getting loads of requests for a Miley Cyrus song, it'll go to the top of your requested tracks.
Yeah.
So it's more about demand as well, like what people want to listen to. Say for example, you've got a couple hundred listeners, and they all want to hear like the latest
Miley Cyrus track.
Miley Cyrus track.
Yep.
Yeah. So popular these days.
Yeah. No.
Then it'll go right to the top of the request widget, won't it?
Yeah, so that'll be right at the top of the queue. So essentially, it'll go in like a first come first serve basis.
Yeah.
But if more people want that track, it'll get bumped up the queue, and then whatever's at the top of the queue, when you set it up to play in your playlist, that's the track that'll play. So that's a really interesting feature, I think, that'll really help everyone.
Yeah, it's a
drive
must.
Engagement.
It is a must for radio.
Definitely.
Because they need that sort of, as a radio station, you need that level of engagement, and this is a really cool tool to do that.
Yeah.
So moving on, we've got customizing playlist info. So do you want to tell us a little bit about this, Jim?
Yeah, so this is a really cool thing. So if you've got a playlist, that you've set up for like a live DJ or something, you can set up your backup playlist to have some custom track information, a bit like the track editor, except this just applies to a live event. So what this lets you do is when your DJ goes live on your station, you can set up a custom image to be shown, custom track information to be shown, and this is really useful for if you're using something like BUTT, broadcast using this tool, which doesn't actually send track information unless you set it up to do so. Quite a lot of people find this on Radio.co actually.
Yeah.
So they'll be using BUT to broadcast, and what'll happen is they get no track information through, and they wonder why. Basically, what you can do with the playlist metadata, the feature's called, you can add in that track information. So, for example, you could have the live DJ's name and then followed by the station name. Just really makes things look a lot more professional rather than just nothing showing on your playlist. So
yeah, it's useful info basically.
Yeah, useful info that you wouldn't want to be shown to your listeners, but it doesn't really end there. So you can. The great thing about this is you can add this to any playlist. So say if you've got a syndicated podcast going out, or say if you've got a pre-recorded show, maybe you don't necessarily want to show all of the track information that plays each time. You just want to show the show name. You can set that up directly in the playlist editor. Just add it in there.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Pretty
I'd say that's
simple stuff,
really simple, and it's a great way to make your station look much more professional. So I think
we've got recording live events. Now this is quite a new one towards the end of last year that we released. We're quite proud about this because it was a lot of people were asking about it really because they wanted to record shows that they're currently putting out, and then they can play them at a later date for people that may have missed them, because that is usually the case, because sometimes your listeners might not have the chance to tune in. So what this does is it records your shows, and it's not just your shows, is it? It's your DJ shows as well.
Yeah. So like I was just talking about the live DJs connecting and broadcasting. What the recording feature lets you do is just lets you download all of the information that they send. So their entire set can be downloaded straight to your station, and then what that lets you do is you can then download the recording for yourself later. So if you need to edit that up and then push it out anywhere else, like SoundCloud, for example, or you can then just reschedule it on your station to just make a pre-recorded show, just another one, just like a rerun.
Yeah.
And then another little integration with that is the track editor again. So say if there's a little bit of silence at the start and end, I'll get that right.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a little bit of silence at the start and end. You can then just trim that in and then schedule it back up onto your station, and then that's just more content for you to use. I think that's a really great feature.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So next, what we've got is duplicating playlists. Now,
Yes.
this was asked. A lot of people asked about this one. Yeah.
It seems like such a small thing,
Yeah.
but it's actually a really major thing that people are asking for.
Yeah.
So what you'd use this for is say you've built your perfect playlist, your absolute perfect playlist.
My Sunday morning playlist.
Yes.
That's what it is.
Let's say your Sunday morning playlist is absolutely perfect, but it doesn't really work on a Monday morning because the moods are different on a Monday morning. So all you need to do is just change a few little things. But you don't want to have to rebuild the entire playlist. Say you've got 100 tracks in there, you really don't want to be rebuilding that from scratch.
Yeah, for all of it.
So we've listened and we've built the duplicate feature in. So you can just duplicate that playlist. You've got an identical copy, and then you can just make all the tiny little changes that you need to there. And then as you copy that playlist over, you can then set up more track information again. So you can do all of those changes on the fly, and it's just a really simple, seamless process, start to finish on that one.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So next up we have swapping default playlists. Can you tell us a little bit about this, Jim?
Yeah. So again, this was kind of another highly requested one. So we made a lot of changes to the way you create your playlists and schedule them this year, because what we wanted to do was just make it a lot more versatile, so it fits every use case. So swapping the default playlist, what this lets you do is say again you've got your perfect playlist and you want this to play all the times when you've got nothing else scheduled, because Radio.co, if you've got nothing scheduled, there's no live event going on, it just uses your default playlist just to play some tracks through. So it's got something to go off when you're not actually broadcasting anything. What this lets you do is say you've set up a really, really nice playlist, but you've forgot to build that into your default playlist, so then you've got to go back and rebuild it all again. Well, this just lets you set that perfect playlist as your default, so you don't need to go and rebuild it again. Again, just making just small little tweaks, but it'll save you a lot of time.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as well, a little tip with that is what a lot of people do is for the default playlist, they tag a lot of the tracks, and then they put those tags in the default playlist. So then it grabs the back catalogue of media that they've got scheduled, and then they've sort of like they randomly pick the tracks, don't they, from the tag tracks. So it is definitely a handy feature. Definitely for swapping out your default playlist, but yeah, that's pretty good. And then next we've got guest DJ role.
So again, what you'll probably realise is we've listened to a lot of feedback this year. We've been taking a lot of feedback from our feedback forum, which I'll go over quickly later on. And what we wanted to do, what the aim of this feature was to just restrict the kind of information that, say, a guest DJ to your station can see. So we've got a few different user roles that you can use in Radio.co. The first one being the station manager. Obviously, they can see absolutely everything, just apart from the billing section. Then we've got the music controller. They can't really edit your station settings. Then we've got the DJ. All the information they really get is how many listeners are currently connected. They can see they can see the listenership over the past month. But what the issue with that is some station owners don't want those DJs to be able to see that information. Say if you're collaborating with another station and you've just got a DJ on your station just for an hour slot, you don't want those DJs to be able to go through all your stats and then pull all that away and
going for all your stuff, basically.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want them to be able to pull that away and then go back to their station, and it's just not something that you want.
Definitely an essential feature, this, isn't it? It's sort of strict.
So what the guest DJ role does, it strips everything out. So they only get the information they need to broadcast, and that is it. They don't get any statistics. They don't get anything.
Yeah, stripped out version.
Just a very, very stripped out version of the dashboard, just enough for them to go live, and then they can see when they're going to go live. So all they will need to go live. But it's very good for those who are bringing collaborations in from other stations.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So
next up, we've got the new radio app design. So this is actually a bit based off of our last app design. It's an upgrade from that, and we've added a few new features in. Do you want to tell us a little bit of the new features that we've
Yeah, so one of the major features was the fact that on Android and iPhone, the old apps didn't look the same. They were basically completely different apps. What we've done is we've completely overhauled them, and then we have given them a uniform look across both devices. So no matter what your listeners are tuning in on, they'll get the exact same experience. We've added a couple of things as well, such as a recently played history, so your listeners can see what's played. The last 10 tracks that are played on the station. That's the one. And there is also an alarm clock. So if you want to if you want your listeners to wake up and be able to listen to your station, they can have that as their alarm clock, which is a nice feature. And
a sleep timer as well. They've got.
Yeah, sleep timer as well. So on the opposite side of things, if your listener is going to sleep, maybe they want to listen to the station for 10 minutes to sing them to sleep.
Yeah, people do it for our birdsong station.
Yes, yeah. So
a bit of birdsong.
We're actually going to demo that a little bit later on.
Yeah.
Because the birdsong station basically just plays like bird sounds all day, so people find that quite relaxing. So they quite like the sleep timer. For that.
Going to sleep, listen to some birds chirping.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think the next one then we're going to talk about is the Website Builder Plus. So we've offered the Website Builder for a little while now, and what we wanted to do was add some more functionality to that. So we've come out with the Website Builder Plus. It lets you have video backgrounds, lets you view some more website statistics, lets you also have HD video and audio. So if you recorded some of your live DJ events, you can just download them and then put them straight on your website. You could also have the option to have a membership area, an online store, and you can very easily embed your radio player. So, yeah, I think...
pretty handy. Easy as well to use. I mean, you don't need to know any code or anything like that to actually use it. Job logs can just get roll up the sleeves and just get stuck in. Like you just drag and drop stuff. You put stuff in, drag in your radio player as well. Put that in there, and you can get up and running in like a couple of minutes. Really, it's that easy.
Yeah, it's really easy just to throw together a website really quickly, and it's one of those things that really help your station gain a lot of traction. It's a easy destination for your listeners to find and to come back to again and again. So it's really important that you're able to build a professional website, and that's what the Website Builder Plus allows you to do. That can be added to any plan. If you're already on the previous version of the Website Builder, the Website Builder Lite, you can upgrade to that at any time as well. So that's really nice.
And then our to introduce this, it's a really big feature we've been working on, and it is pretty handy. Pretty handy tool.
Yeah. So I guess we might as well just go straight into it then. So it's the Radio.co broadcaster for Windows. It's really simple. The main ethos of Radio.co is to make things simple. So what we found is that during the setup stages, when people are setting up the station for the first time, they're having issues, dialing all the settings into their broadcasting software, figuring out the port information, the host information. Some people struggle with that straight away. So what we really wanted to do is again cut that barrier to entry out, and we've released our own broadcasting software. So what it lets you do is you can just log in with your Radio.co details, and then you can choose the station that you've. You can just choose the station that you've got. So say if you've got 3 stations, you can choose between any of those 3 stations. If you've only got 1 station, obviously it'll just take you straight through, and then you can just broadcast straight away. It's a very kind of batteries included.
All in one sort of solution. So you basically just need to log in, and then you get access to it,
and then you're ready.
Then you're ready, pretty much.
Yeah,
So
a very neat feature. A very neat feature of the broadcaster is that it lets you have 2 inputs at the same time. So what this also does is it kind of gets rid of the need for a mixer if if it's just you doing a show. So a great example of this is we've got a big hefty mixer over here.
Yep.
This is taking all the audio from us right now. But if we were using the Radio.co broadcaster, and obviously we were broadcasting to the station, we wouldn't necessarily need this big mixer to do that. We can just set up one of the audio sources to listen to what's coming out of the speakers. So then you could literally play something from Spotify or iTunes, for example, or even any of your favorite scheduling software. So that's Virtual DJ. Virtual DJ, Tractor. There's so many.
Yeah, Mick. There's absolutely loads.
Yeah,
loads of them. Yeah.
There's so many. You can literally take the audio from any program that you're using. Zara Studio. I'm going to keep listening.
We'll be here all day.
Yeah,
there's quite a lot.
You can take it from absolutely anything. And then what you can do is you can just set up the second input as your microphone, and then you can control the audio for each input separately as well. So it gives you really nice options. So I'll just show you the screenshot again. You can see there you can add in both separate inputs, and then you can control them directly from inside the app. And that's a really handy feature, I think, and it really takes the barrier to entry out of broadcasting and makes it as simple as it really needs to be.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah. And that's it for the 2017 features, the radio essentials that you need to know. So just as a little side note, if you're just joining us now and you want to ask us any questions about your radio station, how to set your radio station up, anything like that, we'll be answering those right at the end. So get them in now. You can tweet us, you can Facebook message us, you can go to the blog post, which you might be on right now watching this. You can leave a message there. You can send a carrier pigeon. It's up to you. You know.
I'll go open the window so we can receive them. But yeah, so what we'll do now is we're going to go to a quick break. We're going to show you what we're going to show you.
We're going to. This is very interesting. So all the features that we just mentioned, a radio station, a student radio station in Sweden. They have been using Radio.co, and they've been using all the features, pretty much all the features, during Christmas time for a charity. So they were raising money for a charity. For it's like a music ed charity. So and they're using Radio.co obviously. So let's see how they got on.
Yep.
Every year, Sweden raises money for charity to help those in need. London-based creative content agency Get Involved took part in 2017's event. With the help of Radio.co, they created an internet radio station for local student station Radio Lure that were helping raise money. For 24 hours, presenters broadcast live shows on the internet and on live TV. Breaking their record from last year, the charity raised $8,000.
Musikhjälpen 2017 Växjö Campus.
Sweden Växjö? Yeah, Radio.co. Welcome to this town. My name is Dennis Jönsson and I work on Öppna kanalen in Växjö, opening channel in Växjö. And I would like to say thank you for all the support under the happening Växjö Campus for Music Aid 2017.
And welcome back.
Yep.
So now we're going to move on to features, some awesome features that we're going to be working on this year. So
Yes.
Jim will be talking to us a little bit about this. So do you want to give us the first feature, what we're working on?
Yeah, so one of the first features that we have been working on, it's been in the works for a very long time. Some of the people I've been talking to on support may probably already know about this, but we've been working on a major overhaul of our statistics system. So what that's going to let you do is get access to even more reports, more data about your listeners, and make the entire reporting process much simpler.
A lot easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm actually going to show you just really quickly a live demo of that. Let me just get that open.
Yeah, so we're just going to show you the stat. I mean, like the stats are a lot cleaner now. It's a lot more like at first glance you can sort of see everything, can't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to switch that then. There we go. So that's not updated. There.
Just bear with us for a second.
And it should come on any second now. There we go.
There we
go. We've got the new statistics here. This is a sneak preview. If you guys actually want to have a look at this, I think you'll be able to just type in the little address at the top, and you will actually be able to see this for your station. It's not visible in the dashboard, but if you do want to give it a little check, you can do.
Yeah, little sneak peek.
Little sneak peek
preview. There you go.
That's a little thanks for tuning in today. So as you can see, we've changed the look of the stats a little bit.
It's very straightforward, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very straightforward. Yeah. What you can do now is you can filter out countries. So say if you only want to see listeners from Great Britain, we can just filter out everything else, and then the bar charts just simply adjust so we can see.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh, you've not seen this yet, have you?
I saw a sneak peek a while ago, but yeah, it does that. That's just like the first time that I'm seeing it. But yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah. So you can filter out countries that you don't need to see. You can also change the bar charts to show the country, the device, or the platform as well. I'll switch that over to device just to show you that. So we can also filter out by device as well. So say if we want to get rid of all unknown devices, we can just do that. And then that changes the bar charts again. And then also as well, we can hover over each bar to view a breakdown of what's going on in each one. And then, as always, we've improved the pie charts at the bottom, if you remember. So there, the information you've got is the top countries, top clients, and top platforms. Here, you've got a bit of a better representation. It shows you percentages rather than just raw numbers that you would then have to figure out. So that's something that will really help you in your reporting.
I've actually got a quick question about this.
Yeah, sure.
Because it's the first time I'm seeing it, so it's like I'm the audience.
Okay.
What are the little icons, the little cloud icons? I'm just curious about that.
Good question.
Okay.
So the little cloud icons, this has also been something that's been pretty highly requested. The ability to actually download all of this data. So if you're a current user of the report system, you might notice that you're not able to download that easily. What this does, you can download the graph, and you can download all of these little pieces of data, and it just makes that really easy to do as well. So if you need to keep that for your own purposes, that's something it makes that a lot easier.
Yeah, for reporting purposes, it's
Yep.
it's very handy. You can just download it straight away.
Yep. So
And you can see like, at first glance, it's easy as well. It's really easy to sort of
Yeah.
look and easy to use.
yeah,
So,
exactly. So I'm really impressed with it. I really like it.
Yeah,
It's
good.
There was something else I wanted to mention with this. That's the thing. We are also increasing the amount of time that the reports are available for. So at the moment you can see the current month and the last month. What we're doing is we're going to try and extend that from 6 months to 12 months. So that gives you a lot more
time.
data to compare. You can really see how your station's been doing, and that's going to make things a lot better for you.
Yeah, you can look back a lot further, so that'll be handy. That'll be really
Yeah.
handy.
In terms of when this will be ready, we're looking at the current in the coming months. We want to be able to roll this feature out. But like I say, you can actually view like a kind of beta version.
Yeah, like a sneak
Peek of it.
Yeah, sneak preview.
You can view a little sneak peek of it if
Yeah.
you just have a look at the address. If you just type that in for your station,
Yeah.
then you'll be able to get there.
Yeah.
And then if you want to leave us feedback, just email us help@radio.co, and we'll make sure that the feedback's passed on.
Yeah. So the next feature that we're working on, can we talk about this? Can we talk about this feature?
I think we can.
It's top secret. It's a very top secret feature
Yeah,
we're
this
working
is
on at
very-
the moment. But
We don't want anyone to steal it, so we need to make sure.
Jim, do you want to tell us a little bit about this? If you can you tell us a little bit about this feature actually?
So I can tell you that no one else has done this yet.
I've actually seen a sneak preview of this, and
It's really cool.
it's something that people will definitely use.
Yeah. What I can tell you is no one else has this feature yet. It's gonna make making your shows much easier.
Yeah,
I can say that.
Yeah.
And
I think we'll leave it there.
we'll leave it there
hanging, yeah.
because I'm going to go a bit too in depth there.
Yeah.
But
You'll ruin it.
yeah, we're really excited about it, and we might be releasing a few more details closer to the time it's ready. We're currently finishing off some things, polishing some things. It needs to be tested, of course.
So watch this space, guys.
Yep, watch this space. We'll be doing another blog post. We'll be doing a blog post on that soon.
Yeah.
Very soon, and a video guide on that as well.
Shortly as well, yeah.
Yeah.
So the next feature, do you want to tell us a little bit about this? This is updated players.
Yes. So the players that we've got right now, they're absolutely fine, but we think they need modernising a little bit. Just bring them into 2018 and beyond. So what we're doing is, rather than just the kind of the standard player style you've got, so you can choose different sizes, but kind of you can change like the colours, etc. But the actual styles of the players, we wanted to offer more. So we're bringing in 3 new player types, I believe. This is kind of pre-planning stage at the moment, so this is all subject to change. But there's some very nice new players coming in, such as the artwork type player. And what this will do is it'll let you have the artwork for the track that's currently playing as kind of like a blurred background. And so you'll have seen this already in the track editor if you've used that. You can kind of see the blurred background there. That's what we kind of want to apply to the players as well. We're updating the responsiveness for them to adapt to any screen size. So they're already responsive, but there's a few little things that we wanted to tweak on that just to make them just better, basically. So we're always constantly improving them, and we just want to make them perfect.
Constant little tweaks and little improvements here and there. But we are actually doing stuff like that to the Radio.co dashboard. We're doing stuff under the hood, which obviously you won't know about. But it's just something that that makes things a little bit easier. So like for example the players. So they're going to be more sleeker.
Yep.
So
that's a really nice little transition actually, because there is a feature that we've kind of quietly released into the wild. Because it's not really worth a major video because it's only very small. But what you can now do is bulk update your track information. So let's pretend you've got 100 tracks that you've just uploaded to Radio.co, and none of them have artist information. So that's going to be really annoying. Yeah. And you've got to go through each one and change it all. Not with Radio.co, not anymore. Just go into the media section, tick the tracks which you need to change, and then there's a little button in the top right corner. Actually, I'll show you.
Oh, cool.
So let's go over to our, where is it? Demo. There we go.
Yeah, so this actually happens quite a lot where, Jim, you get this on support, where people come to us and they say, I've just uploaded like a 50 tracks and they've not got, all the information's not right. I need to go through and update them all. It's not like an easy way to do this. And obviously this is a solution for that. This is a way just to select everything and then bulk update, like an album, for example, or artwork or something like that.
So just going into the account now. There we go. So let's show you that now. So we are in the Birdsong FM media library, and what we can see is there's a lot of unknown albums here, and we don't like that. So what we're going to do is we're just going to tick a few of these. Let's just do the top 5. And what I'm going to do is there's a little button up here next to the bin. We're just going to tap that, and then what we can do is we can change the information here, just in case it's wrong.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to enter something in the album field. What should we say? What should we put in, Jamie?
Let's put in outdoor sounds.
Outdoor sounds.
Yeah. Outdoor sounds. There we
Lovely.
go.
So what we'll do now is we'll update that, and then all of those 5 tracks now have the album of outdoor sounds. So that's
Really handy.
That's really handy. Obviously, you can do
Yeah.
that for the artist as well. And the next kind of natural kind of evolution of this is to be able to do that with your track artwork as well, which I'm really happy to let you know that is coming. That's coming very soon. We hope to have that out in the coming months. Like that's just happened there. You'll be able to upload some artwork that'll be applied to all those tracks, and then you can do that in bulk. So obviously with this you can do an entire page at the time, so you can update 50 tracks at a time with all this, and that'll save you a lot of time.
Yeah. So all this stuff is just easier stuff for you to manage your station. But we do get quite a lot of suggestions. A lot of people contact us and they say, "Can you add this? Can you add that?" And it's like we do actually look at this stuff. We do actually look at your feedback, and we go through every single one. We painstakingly go through every single one, and we review them. We talk about them. We think, is this good? Is this bad? We share it with other people. We say, look, do you think this is good? Can you vote on this? We've got a voting system now. Do you want to show them?
Yeah. So I'll just switch over to the laptop again. So this is our feedback forum. What this allows you to do is it allows you to share your own ideas, and you can vote on other people's ideas. Say if someone else has had a really great idea. For example, what do we have? Let's have a look. So jingle scheduling, that's a really nice idea. You might think that's a great idea, so you can just upvote that, and then that lets us know that you want to see that in Radio.co as well. You can also go through each one. You can join the conversation, leave a comment, and then that really allows us to get a clear picture of what it is that our users want. So it's I'd say it's a very.
So if you want to add your suggestions in, or you want to go through and you want to see what we're currently working on, or what people are talking about, you can head on over to radio.co/feedback, and then like Jim's mentioned, you can just leave messages there. You can say, "This is good. I love this. Can we do this as well with it?" So you can add to the conversation basically.
Yeah. So if you really want to contribute to the way Radio.co grows and develops, that's the best way to do that.
Yeah.
So leave your feedback. Like Jamie just said, radio.co/feedback. And we go through each and every idea, and we will even let you know if your idea is added as well.
Yeah, like a prize. Like win a prize.
Yeah.
So again, if you're just joining us, or you're with us right now, and you want to ask us any questions, you can do. You can head on over to Twitter. You can go to Facebook. You can go to the blog. You can send smoke signals.
We might not see them.
Yeah, might not see them. It is quite dark. Maybe not smoke signals.
Don't do smoke signals.
Yeah, don't do smoke signals. So anyway, moving on. So we have the top 10 common questions we get asked about, and these are top 10 questions from last year. So these are what you guys are asking us, and these are ranked as well. So let's start off.
So first one then. What do I need to start my radio station?
Yeah.
Really simple. It all depends on what kind of you want to do. But for most people, all you'll need is your platform to broadcast on. So, for example, Radio.co, and then you might need some software to broadcast to that platform so you can go live. Obviously, we provide all of that.
Yeah.
So essentially, all you would need to do is, if you were starting your station with us, is just sign up for the free trial. download that Windows software. If you're on a Mac, there's plenty of other software that you can use as well.
Yeah.
We are working on our own software for Mac, which is coming later on. I don't have a definite time on that.
Yeah,
but
there's no deadline yet.
no deadline, but there's plenty of other.
Yeah.
If you're already set up and running with some broadcasting software, you can just connect that straight to Radio.co.
There's plenty out there. I mean, there's book gets used a lot, so you can use that for the time being. That'll work with Radio.co quite well.
Yeah.
And to build on what Jim just said then, what you need to actually start your station, what people need is
It's very little.
very little, and just a microphone as well. Like people want to be able to talk to the listeners, like we're talking to you right now. So if you're looking for a microphone, we recommend. There's a few microphones that we recommend actually. The Samsung Z01, that's quite a good one. And if you're looking for something a bit cheaper and something that's you can just plug into your computer via USB, you can try the Fine microphone. I think it's $25.
$25, yeah,
Yeah,
really cheap.
Around about that price. And there's a few other USB ones. We use a lot the Rode podcaster microphone.
Yeah, the Rode Podcast.
That's a good one as well. That's a directional microphone, so it points directly at you, so it's easier to manage. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. You don't really need much else. That's a good starting point, isn't it?
Yeah. So just kind of summarize. You will need a computer. You need a computer with an internet connection, preferably, and then you'll need something like Radio.co. You may need some broadcasting software. It might not be something that you want to do, but if you do want to actually DJ live on air, you will need that. And then you may or may not need a microphone. And that's basically it. You can get something very inexpensive, a very inexpensive setup that'll work just fine. Or obviously you can look at kind of more advanced setups if you wanted to do like more things like adding multiple presenters, multiple DJs. If you really want to scale it up, you just kind of add however you need.
Yeah.
We've wrote a few guides actually on this. So starting at a basic studio setup, kind of like a home kind of intermediate.
A home studio setup, and advanced, and then professional. Obviously, it goes up in those three tiers. But home studio is which you can find on the Radio.co University. If you're heading over to Radio.co/Radio University, or you can find it on the Radio.co homepage, just at the top, Radio University. You follow that, you scroll down a little bit, you can find the free setups that we recommend there, along with some other reviews, guides, and just a bunch of other really useful stuff. So check them out. So moving on to the next question.
So the next question then is, I've kind of already talked about this.
How
can I broadcast live?
Yeah.
So this is very simple. If you're on Windows, it's just a case of download our broadcasting software and type in your details, set up your microphones, set up your speakers, and then you're good to go. You're live. It's really not any more complicated than that. If you're on a Mac, you might need to use some different software. So that could be But, broadcast using this tool. That could be Virtual DJ. That could be Mix. It could be a wide variety of things.
Yeah.
But that setup process is quite simple as well. You just type in some details into those programs, and then again, you'll be live on air straight away.
Yeah. So the next question that we've got is, how can I listen to my station on an iPhone or Android device?
So there's two major ways to go about this. So you could either use a website to have your station player on there, and so you could use one of our kind of updated players. You could even build your own player using the DIY player kit. So if you're a developer and you want it to look absolutely perfect, and customize it as much as you want, we provide you with the
Bits and pieces
that you need to kind of
together.
do all of that. So that's kind of one way you can do it. Basically, a player on the website. The second way to do it is to use actually a dedicated app for your station. So you can have an app developed, or we can do that for you. We can develop Android and iOS apps.
Pretty easy process as well. I mean, all you have to do is just submit a few details, just your artwork, and then we take it from there. Basically, we pick it up and then we develop for Android.
Yeah,
and
so
iPhone.
it's really simple process. It's just straight from your Radio.co dashboard. You just go to the add-on section, and then you'll be able to start actually customizing your apps, and you can visualize how they'll look in the browser as well. And then after you've finished that, you send it off to our development team. We'll build it for you. And then if it's the iOS app, we'll submit it to Apple for you as well, because that could be quite a complicated process. But we streamline all of that for you. We do it on your behalf.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to the Android app, we'll build it all for you, collect everything that you need, and then give that to you. And then we've also written a very comprehensive guide on how to upload it all. It's a very simple process.
Where can people find this guide?
Where can people find this guide? Good question, Jamie. So if you go to help.radio.co, you can find all of the guides that we've ever made, but specifically the guide you're looking for. You can either search in the top bar, or you can look in the add-on section of the.
Yeah, so you type in iPhone, Android, and
it'll all come up there.
So another question that we get asked a lot is, my track info is wrong. How do I update this?
So we've gone over this a little bit. We've talked about the track editor. That's the main way you do this. So the track editor, what that lets you do if you're just tuning in, you can change your track information. In the browser, you don't need to kind of change it all on your computer, then upload it again. What you can do is you can go straight into your media library, change the information that needs to be changed, say if the track information, say if the name's wrong, the artist is wrong, the album's wrong, you can change all of that. And then what you can also do is if the wrong artwork is attached to that song, you can upload your own as well. So that's something that Radio.co makes very nice and simple.
So the next question is, how can I pre-record my show?
It's not. The next question is actually,
sorry.
How can listeners find my station? So I'm sure we'll get to that one later,
Yeah,
Jamie.
we'll get to that one, yeah. I'm eager, that's why. I'm eager.
So the next question is actually, how can listeners find my station? And so I've kind of already talked about this one. You can either put a player on your website, and then that'll let people tune in at your website. Or what you can do is you can submit your station to kind of the big radio directories. So that's TuneIn, Streamer, and there's plenty of others as well.
Yeah, there's quite a lot. Again, if you head over to help.radio.co and you search for directories, there's just a bunch of directories in there. I think there's about 12 at the moment, or there might be a bit more than that, but they're constantly being updated because there's just new services, new places where people are going to tune in to their favourite station. So you want to get listed on as many of them as possible, if not all of them, really. So going back in time now and moving on to that question that I just asked.
So who can guess what the next question is? How can I pre-record my radio shows?
Yeah.
So the next question. So this question is quite good. If you're just joining us, we've gone over this one talking about the voice tracker, but this is a great question. What you can do with Radio.co is you can pre-record little snippets of your show if you like, and then you can insert that into your playlists. So you wouldn't necessarily need to play out your entire show. You could just kind of pre-record your little voice tracks that go between all of those, all of your actual music files.
Yeah. So you can build an entire show, basically.
Yeah, you can build your entire pre-recorded radio show. Yeah. You can build all of that in the playlist editor directly. So that's how you would go about doing that. That's just simply using the voice tracker to record your microphone, and then you can just build in your playlist.
Yeah, and if you've got a microphone, like we've got this microphone hooked up here, you can actually select the microphone that you're using with the voice tracker and record it from that mic.
Shall we show them how to do that? I think we can.
Yeah, if you want to.
We'll
Yeah. If you guys are okay with that, we'll show you.
Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll just switch.
It is really easy to use as well. I've used it quite a lot, and obviously, like I mentioned before as well, the station that we help run, MCR Live, they use this quite a bit as well, just for shows that they want to, queue up, schedule, so they can just. So yeah, as you can see on screen there.
Yeah, so we've got the voice tracker on screen. All you need to do is just make sure your microphone's connected. The browser will ask you if it's okay to use your microphone. You just click allow, and then we can see all of the devices we've got. So I'm just going to use the built-in microphone, and I'm going to start recording. So
we're too loud.
I'm shouting.
We're too loud.
So I'll quiet down a little bit. So as you can see, I'm speaking in the browser.
That warning as well. It's basically just a way of saying, hey, you're too loud. Can you turn your microphone down a little bit?
Yeah, turn it down.
Yeah, turn it down a little bit.
Gives you a lot of visual feedback as well.
Yeah,
So
it's pretty
when
easy.
when you're finished, I'm going to stop shouting at it now.
You shouting at the microphone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to stop that now. And what this will do is it'll generate a little preview. So you can listen to this back. And then if you don't like it, you can clear the recording and start again. But if you do decide you're happy with it, just type in the title and artist you want to put in there. So we'll call this our voice track. We'll call this from Jim. And we'll create that. And what that'll do now is it'll put it straight into the playlist. And when that's ready, that's ready to go straight away.
Yeah. So there you go.
There we are. It's all done.
Oh, there you go.
Great stuff.
Yeah.
So we'll come back now.
Okay, so what question was I on? Oh, right, so moving on. I'm losing track of the questions. So the next question that we've got is, how do I play random songs?
So this is a big question that we get asked a lot, because how Radio.co works is you can create your playlists and you'll put your songs into those playlists. But then what people want to know is how can they shuffle that like you can in Spotify or iTunes. Basically, the way our playlists work is it's more like kind of a set order of things to happen in, and so you wouldn't be able to like shuffle that playlist directly. But what you can do, and which I think is a much sleeker, nicer implementation of this, is what you can do is you add all of your tracks to what's called a tag. What that tag lets you do is you can categorize your tracks. So if you have jingles, you can add a jingle tag to that. If you've got lots of jazz tracks, just add a jazz track to it, a jazz tag, sorry. And then you can create any kind of tag that you want, and then you can manage all of those from within the media section. And then you can just put that tag into your playlist. So what happens then is instead of playing these set tracks in order, it'll look at the tag and then it'll randomly choose one of the tracks that is also tagged with that. So kind of if it's in that category that's set to play there, it'll just choose one of those tracks and then play that. And then what you can do is you can build your entire playlist in this way. So just use maybe you have 10 tags. You have like a jingle tag, some jazz tags, more jingles, station IDs, adverts, all that kind of stuff. And what it'll do is, rather than just playing one set order of things, which will then just repeat forever, it'll constantly update that playlist and change, and it'll be a very dynamic way to actually schedule your content.
Yeah, so you basically you can build a story in a way with the playlist and the tags. So you can go through certain stuff, go through certain tags, randomly pick a jingle, for example, go through another track that you want, you've actually put in there, choose a tag. That could be a song or an advert. And it'll just go through like in that order.
Yeah, it's a really good way to keep your playlist feeling fresh to your listeners, so they're not tuning in and hearing the same things over and over again. Yeah, it's just a really nice way to actually build out your playlist. So I'd really recommend checking out the guide we've just recently written, covering everything you need to know about tags and how you can use them.
Yeah, I think it's the most recent. If you head on over to radio.co/blog, and it should be. I think it's not the top one, not the latest one. I think it's the previous one. Anyway,
it's on the blog.
Sidetrack. It's on the blog anyway. So if there's a little search box on the blog, so you can find it on there. So moving on to the next question is, how do I add my player to my website? Now, I think I can answer this one. This is quite straightforward. We mentioned previously that we've got a website builder which you can use, which is very handy. It's very useful for you to have your own website. It's good for branding purposes. It's good for getting found online. So what you can do is you can add your player. Basically, you can just drop it in a way, because all you have to do is copy some code and then drag an element on the website builder, and then just paste the code in there, save it, and your player will be on your website. Obviously, you can move some stuff about. You can sort of make it look nice. You can make your player look nice in the Radio.co dashboard because you can use custom branding. Yep. And is there another way people can embed the player? You can do it on WordPress as well. You can just drop the code into WordPress. It works with WordPress. So it is really, really simple. Yeah, I think the best thing, the key thing to take away from that is the fact you don't need to actually know anything about coding. If you're, it takes a long time to build a website as well. Yeah, it takes a very long time to build a website. Yeah. So kind of what the website builder and our players let you do is just kind of really quickly throw together a website that looks professional. And it lets you put that player onto that website very nicely and very easily as well. Yeah, so moving on to the next question is, do I need do I need a license to broadcast? I can answer this one. This is a bit of a tricky question because it kind of depends on what you're broadcasting, where you're broadcasting from, and it just depends on your country really. We do get asked this quite a bit, and my recommendation to you is finding out from your own country what the rules are, basically what the rules for broadcasting online are, because it might be different from terrestrial radio. And I think the best place to go is we've got some information on the blog again.
Yep.
So you're gonna have to do a little bit of searching on there.
So this is kind of one of those topics that does you like kind of need to research into, because it's all like legal, this, so we can't give you like definite advice on what you need to do. We can kind of give you like kind of a rough guide on what you kind of should be looking at, basically.
Yeah, point you in the right direction, basically.
Yeah. So we've wrote a brilliant guide and a video.
Yep, which covers all this.
Which covers all this for UK and US licensing.
And it kind of goes into detail about licensing for other countries, Canada, Australia, just loads of places, basically. So I think if you're heading over to the blog and you search for licensing in the search box, you'll be able to find it there. So definitely check that out. And finally, the last question is: how can two presenters from two different places broadcast at the same time?
So this is it's one that we've covered on our blog a couple of times, but we've kind of been refining the way that we've kind of recommended to do this. So in the past, we recommended that you kind of set up like a Skype call. So you would have, for example, you could have someone in Australia, and then there's you in the UK, for example. You would be broadcasting to Radio.co, and then this user in Australia would kind of be on like a Skype call to you, and then kind of everything from them would then get broadcast onto Radio.co. It worked, but we found actually a much better way to do that using a service called CleanFeed. So it skips out all the weird things you have with Skype, like hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
No, all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
If you've used Skype, you'll probably know what I'm talking about. But CleanFeed takes all that away, just makes it really simple to kind of do that on. So
as well, you can have multiple, can't you? You can have I don't know, like 10. You have 10 people would be a lot for
yeah, probably. I probably wouldn't have 10.
But you can have as many people as you want, basically, and that you can basically grab all of that audio. So you can have you, another presenter, and maybe another friend, or maybe you might have like 3-4 people, and you can grab all the audio and then throw it onto your radio station, and that'll be broadcasting live.
Yeah.
So again, we've got a guide on this. If you're heading over to the blog and you search for CleanFeed, you can find it on there. Definitely worth checking that out.
Yeah, definitely. So that's our last question that we've got prepared.
Yeah, that's our last question. So we're now going to run through the questions that you guys have sent us. So before we start these, we just want to ask you now, if you've got any questions that you want to ask us, you want to pick our brain a little bit, if you want to know anything about starting your radio station, if you want to know anything about radio equipment, audio equipment.
Yep, just put all of your questions. If you're listening on Facebook, just write a comment. If you're on YouTube, it's just in the sidebar. Write a comment there. I'm actually going to go and look right now what's going on.
Yeah,
so
let's check it out.
Let's have a look then.
Let's see who the lucky winner is. Let's check it out.
Okay, so we've got greetings from Radio ALR in Denmark. Hello, Finn. What about iHeartRadio? So iHeartRadio, I don't have too much experience with that particular directory, but that's something we could probably look into in a future blog post. That's a little idea for you there.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
so that's something we'll look into for you, and that's we'll write a little guide on that.
Cool.
Okay,
Another question?
What else have we got? What else do we have? Where do you find the normalize button? Great question. So I did mention this right at the start. I'll show you where that is. I'll show you right now. So let me just go onto the dashboard there. Okay, so we're back on the dashboard. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go down to the settings menu, which is going to discard our changes there. Okay, so we're in the settings menu, and I'm going to go into broadcast settings. So this is where you find the default crossfade duration for your station. Of course, also volume normalization. You've got live anytime, and then you've got the stream quality as well. That's all just bundled in here. So if you want to turn on volume normalization, it's really simple. Just click on, and then scroll down to the bottom of the page, and then click the save button. And then volume normalization will then take effect, and all of your tracks will be at the same consistent level.
Yep, and your station doesn't go off, does it? It stays.
It does.
Oh, it does go off.
Yeah, so that's an important note. If you do turn on volume normalization, your station will restart because it's got to reload everything. Yeah, so just make sure that you're aware of that before you do that, because all your listeners might be a bit confused as to what's going on
It
there.
actually will let you know as well. So you know.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a pretty handy tool to use, definitely. So another question. Do you want
More questions?
more questions? All the questions. Have you got a question? Just fire them over to us because we're going through them now. We're running through all of them.
Yep. So we've got another question on volume normalization. So Mike asks, what if we have a lower volume track? Would this affect the others? So what would happen is, say if you've got this consistent level that your station is aiming for, if your track is quite quiet, what it'll do is it'll just slightly boost it up so it closely matches that consistent level.
Brings the audio
it'll just bring the audio up slightly just to make sure it matches.
Yeah.
And then likewise for a really loud track, what it'll do is it'll just bring that down slightly as well, and it'll just kind of meet in the middle, and make everything sound like very consistent, not too jarring or kind of for your listeners.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's have another look. What do we have? Okie dokie.
So just running through the questions out. Like I said before, we've got questions. Taking questions on Facebook, taking questions on YouTube, Twitter, anywhere. Paper airplane. Just chuck us a paper.
If you're close enough to reach
if you're across the building, just throw us paper airplane.
Yep. So what do we have? We have. When will you be getting podcast and live shout out like instant messages added in as an add-on? Mm-hmm. So podcasting, what you can do is you can upload your podcast to Radio.co already. All you need to do is just upload that to the media section, and then you can create your playlist and then schedule that to go out. So one thing to take away from this, Radio.co isn't like a podcasting thing where your listeners can go to kind of listen to all of the previous podcasts. It's a live thing, so you can set that podcast to go out again at a later time if you want to. That's how you do it in Radio.co. So that's already there. What else? Instant messages. Instant messages. I assume this will be coming through the apps for your listeners to actually talk to you. This isn't something that's currently on the cards, but if it's something that's highly requested and it's something that you, the clients, want, then head on over to the feedback forum and then make sure that your voice is heard, and we'll definitely be listening.
Vote on the features that you want to see. So just get your opinions out there, really. So another question is, do you want to pick another question, Jim?
Yep, I'm just gonna scroll through now.
We're still getting quite a lot of questions, which is good.
Yep.
So
you guys are live all the way from Tanzania, I think that's how you pronounce it. Hello, Remy. Who else do we have? My station is a Catholic radio station. I'm curious what other formats play. So on Radio.co, there's actually a really wide variety of stations, like kind of types of stations that we have.
Yeah.
So we do have a lot of Catholic radio stations, like Christian radio stations. There's a lot of religious stations. They all kind of play kind of pre-recorded kind of sermons.
Yeah.
And then they'll create the playlist like that.
There's really like no one sort of.
There's no boundaries.
Yeah. I mean, like we showed you before near the beginning, a Swedish radio station, Radio Alert, was like a talk radio station. They basically they was using that for a charity.
Mm-hmm.
You can actually head over to radio.co/case studies, or you can find that in the footer case studies. There's just a bunch of different use cases for Radio.com, different type of music that you use. I mean, we've got actually we did not too long ago. We talked to a very famous DJ here in Manchester, Mike Shaft,
mm-hmm.
which is actually he's over on MCR Live as a presenter. We talked to him about the type of music that he plays, so. Just you can check that video out on the case studies and a bunch of other ones as well.
Yeah, so just to kind of summarise all that, there isn't like, so on Radio.co there's a very wide spectrum of kind of formats that are played. So that could be in-store radio, kind of the stuff that you hear when you go into a shop. That could be using Radio.co. Some schools use it for their kind of their systems internally. So if they have like news that's going out in school, they can put it on there. Even use it as kind of like a recreational kind of activity.
Russell Prue as well.
Yeah,
he uses it as well. We've talked to him in the past. That's another case study you can check out. Yeah,
definitely.
So
let's
some more questions.
More questions.
So keep them coming in if you got them. We'll quickly run through the last questions.
Yeah, so we've got another question about volume normalization. A lot of questions on this one.
Yeah, that seems quite a lot of thing. Yeah.
So, is normalization also applying compression? I'm doing all the processing myself, and I don't want extra compression, but I might want that last layer of limiting. So, what volume normalization does, kind of on kind of like the low level, is it just adjusts the gain, and so it'll apply some gain if it's too quiet, or it'll reduce the gain if it's too loud. That's kind of all that really happens on the volume normalization end. A nice way to think about that is just you could just rename the feature in your head to. I just had a name for this.
Blank. You've gone blank.
I've gone blank.
It's fine.
It's fine. But
it's
that's
fine.
how it works. It just adjusts the gain. That's all the volume normalization does.
Yeah.
So, do we have any more?
We do actually have some questions.
Oh, we do. Yes, I forgot about that. So we've got a few questions on our blog. How to earn money with the radio?
How do you earn money with your radio station? Now, there's not one set path to do this, and it's best to, for a situation like this where you want to take it serious, and you want to take your radio station serious, you want to build something, and you want to get some money from it, then what you should do is you should look at radio stations and what they're currently doing, and what you'll notice is they currently follow a couple of set paths. One is sponsorships, and basically what that is you get sponsored by a business and to basically run ads. There's that method. There is also ad injection as well.
Mm-hmm.
So you basically you can inject some ads. It's basically like sponsorships. That's like the main route. Promotions as well. So for example, if you've got a website and you're a very manly radio station, you're talking about DIY stuff, you might be sponsored by, like here in the UK, we've got something called B&Q, and they're like a DIY shop, so you could be sponsored by B&Q, and you could put that on your website. So there's loads of different stuff like that, and obviously there's more obvious routes like merchandise, and you'd be surprised at how many people will actually buy your merchandise, even if it's just like mugs, t-shirts.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've got quite a few t-shirts just with like brands on, like Coca-Cola, stuff like that. So like it's very simple stuff, but a lot of people do kind of make money that way. And there's not just one sort of channel. It's like tiny different funnels, kind of like coming into.
I think another way that stations kind of earn money is it's the way the MCR Live that we work closely with has adopted. So it's more the kind of ad-free, sponsored content route. So they will put out syndicated podcasts. They'll essentially companies will approach them to start a podcast, and then essentially they'll earn revenue that way. So to kind of promote things onto the station. So not necessarily adverts all over the place, but it's baked nicely into the content, and that's kind of what MCL Live is there.
Yeah. And if you want to find out more information on this, you can head on over to the blog, radio.co/blog, and if you use a little search box and just type in money, I think something will come up, or you can search online on Google and just type in how do I earn money on my radio station. There'll be loads of useful stuff on there.
There's loads of ways to do it. There's no one set answer.
Yeah, it does require a lot of research and a lot of planning. So if you are taking this seriously, then you do need to get your head down and get a plan. But first place to start is look what others are doing. So search online.
Yeah,
that
definitely.
way.
We've had another question from Matt Crane. Hello. I think we've spoke a few times. Are you guys working on a Radio.co station management app by any chance? So this is actually a very good idea. It's something that we used to have on wave streaming. I think it was the Radio Monitor app. It's not something we've currently kind of brought over to Radio.co yet, but interesting suggestion. I do think that's definitely something we should work on in the future.
Yeah, definitely.
And just leading on from that, make sure you share your ideas over on the feedback forum. That's radio.co/feedback. And like Jamie said
I
before,
feel like we've said that quite a lot now.
we've said it quite a lot, but
It
kind
is-
of
it
what
is-
we want
it
to
is
make sure
very
that you know is that
Yeah,
we are
yeah.
listening. Obviously, that I feel like that's fairly obvious in what we've shown already from the features we brought up that last year. And we just want to make sure that you guys know that is the best place to share your ideas and feedback.
Talk to us basically.
Yeah, that's the best way to like get ideas across to us, because then we can gauge kind of how many people want that same feature, and we can bump that up the priority list as well. So definitely recommend going over to the feedback forum just to share that idea.
Yeah.
But it's something that I'm actually going to note down in a moment, because I would quite like to see that myself. That'd be really cool. I
Yeah.
like that.
So another question we're still getting quite a lot of questions in,
Yeah.
which is good. So do you want to read out one of the other questions that we've got?
Yeah, so we've got more questions about making money, but I think on the opposite end of the scale is Barbara asks, "Hi, I need to know the cheapest effective items for our startup." So we kind of covered this a little bit already.
We covered this a little bit. I mean, the cheapest way to do it is to get a really inexpensive, affordable microphone like the Fine 669B, I think it's called. To be honest, the quality of it, you get what you pay for with stuff like that.
Yeah, so that's a $25 microphone.
Yeah. But your setup really should be you should get like a decent microphone. Like the Rode Podcaster is quite a decent microphone. You can get a really cheap mixer as well. We've got a guide on this as well, some best mixers. If you search for mixers on the blog, you'll find some stuff there. And also some useful stuff on the Radio.co University. There's some setup guides on there, like what you should be using in terms of microphone, boom arm, not necessarily this one, but something else. The mixers that you can be using. And also as well, like if you just look at like this setup that we've currently got, we're using foam tiles, and these are really good. These actually do soundproof the audio quite a lot, because this room that we're currently in now,
It's actually a very noisy office building.
It's a very noisy office building, but hopefully you guys
Haven't been able to tell that.
Yeah.
So we've had people walking past slamming doors on the other
slamming
side of
doors,
this wall.
shouting at us.
Yeah.
No, that's like shout.
Yeah,
But,
so hopefully
it's-
you've not been able to hear that,
yeah.
and hopefully this is doing its job.
Yeah,
This is a good thing to have.
Yeah. So we've got like there's a few things like that. What you can be using, some tips, some guides to block out the noise, and yeah. So I think I've pretty covered that one.
I think we've got another one here. So again, this is just talking about an app for managing your radio station. Again, head over to the feedback forum. That's the best place to share that kind of those ideas. It's not currently something that's in the works, but it's definitely something that I think we should
Definitely
something that we'll be looking into. Yeah, 100%. I think so we've got another one. How to build a radio studio similar to the one in the Radio.co office, and how much does it cost? So we've actually done a full breakdown on this, haven't we?
We have done a full breakdown on this.
So we've done a video guide taking you through the
Yeah.
entire setup, and we've also costed everything up below.
And this radio station is actually MCR Live.
Yes.
So and Jim is currently wearing he's currently branded up at the moment.
Yep.
If you can see that, he's got the MCR Live jumper on there. There we go.
Yep.
But yeah, it's the MCR Live radio station, the studio, and it's a professional setup. Like it's a really good setup, and it does cost quite a lot of money, like for the setup, but it's really professional, because you've got I think they use the Axia IQ mixing desk, and that goes through a mix engine, and all of this sort of hooks up to Radio.co, and they also send it out to DAB
Yeah,
in
they do
Manchester.
broadcast on DAB as well.
Yeah. So I was actually listening to MCR Live in the car, driving around in Manchester the other day. So yeah. So and obviously that was being broadcast live in the studio. So if you want to actually check this out, you can. I think if you're heading over to the Radio.co University and you go down to the free setup guides, we've got basic, amateur and professional, and it's the professional one, so definitely check that out. It lists all the equipment that those guys used, and it's even got a little short video just describing how everything is connected, and yeah, it's definitely check that out if you can. So yeah, have you got any more questions?
We've got a few more questions, but I'm going to group them into one because they're all kind of about the same thing.
Okay.
So it's about mixers. People want to know kind of the cheap mixers to get. So what kind of cheap and cheerful things that really good bang for your buck. So one mixer that we quite like and we feature in quite a few of our tutorials actually is the Behringer Xenix 802. That's a really simple microphone. We've actually got it over there. Shall I go and get it?
Yeah, do you want to
I'll go and grab it?
Jim will just go and get this our lovely assistant is bringing it over to us.
Here we go.
Now. Thank you, lovely assistant.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So
there we go.
here we are.
Yeah.
We've got this is the Behringer Xenix 802. It's really simple. You can have 8 inputs on this and 2 outputs. So you've got 4 channels, 2 channels dedicated to your mixophone, and then you've got 2 other channels for kind of whatever you want. And these are all really simple to adjust. You've got your main mixer down here, and you've also got options for FX, and you can also balance these as well. So this is a really great budget mixer. How much does this sell for?
I think I'm not off the top of my head. I don't actually know, but I think it sells for less than 100, which is good for a mixer.
I'll double check.
Jim's checking this for us now, but this is a cheaper alternative. It's pretty handy, pretty cool. This one, we do use this quite a lot. We actually use this for a few different setups where we help MCR Live go out and set up for on location broadcasting. We actually do use this. This is quite a handy tool.
Just because it's very light. It's very light. It's very portable.
So it's with a laptop as well. It's pretty simple.
Carry it along in your bag with you. It's really good. This is really good for if you're broadcasting on location. This actually, I've just checked on Amazon. This one sells for $60. So it's quite inexpensive for what you get. But if you want the version with the USB output on the end, so you can really nicely and easily connect it to your computer, that goes to $80. So yeah, this is kind of like what we recommend, kind of at the entry level. Obviously, then you can move up as well with kind of more expensive Behringer microphones, such as the one that we're actually using here on our desk. This is the 1222 USB. Just gets you more inputs, more outputs, gives you greater flexibility.
Yeah, and to build on that, we do recommend starting off at something affordable like the Behringer Xenix 802. But you can work your way up. You can go for we use another mixer quite a lot, don't we? Can you remember off the top of your head? It's the 2001. I can't remember.
Yeah, so this is a big one. We're not going to get this one out.
Yeah, this is too big.
But it's if I remember correctly, it's the QX 2000. Let me double check.
It is quite a handy one. I mean, the reason why we use this one, even if it's so big, is because
DX 2000.
Thank you, our lovely assistant. Thank you. And that's quite handy because it's USB, so you can just hook it up to your computer, and you can connect your microphone and your other devices to it, like a CD player, stuff like that. So if you're actually wondering as well, why would you need a mixer for your radio station? Which this is another question that we get asked quite a lot. Is why do I need a mixer? Do you want to answer this one?
Yeah. So why would you use a mixer? Basically, kind of nowadays you don't necessarily need to. There is some kind of technology out there which such as the Radio.co broadcaster, which means that if you're just using one microphone and an audio source, you don't necessarily need to have a mixer like this because you only need those 2 inputs. But if you want to invite on multiple presenters, if you want to have more than one audio source, you want to have lots of things going on, that's kind of when you start to need. That's when you need to kind of use a mixer. So
when your setup grows, basically. That's
So
that's
as
what
you start growing like as a station, investing in a mixer is definitely a good idea.
Yeah.
It'll just give you a lot more flexibility in the future, and then obviously you can grow as your station grows. You can upgrade your equipment. But yeah, the mixer is kind of like where everything comes together. You can independently manage all of the sound coming from each different device or each different microphone, each different like music input.
Yeah.
And you can turn each one up and down separately.
Yeah.
And essentially with mixers you can go the sky's the limit.
Yeah,
you can
pretty
add
much.
as many
Yeah. It's like it's easy as well because obviously I'm talking through this mixer right now, and I don't know which channel I'm on. I think I'm this one. If I just slowly turn this down, you should be able to hear it go down ever so slightly. If I turn it back up again, you should be able to hear me a bit much. So it's easy. It's like you can sort of fiddle about with all the settings, and so yeah, it's mixers basically for people who need a large setup where they have room to grow.
Yeah, you just need to if you just need to combine multiple audio sources, a mixer is the best way to do that.
Yeah. So have we got any more
questions?
Any more questions?
If there's no more questions, I think we're going to call it a day.
Yep.
Let's have a look.
I think that's it.
So that's everything on the blog.
And actually, I think that's it now. I think that's it for questions. We actually are getting a few more questions coming in, but we have overrun ever so slightly, so we will need to go. But if you do have questions that you want answered, then we will answer them later on. Either you can put them on Twitter. We'll reply on Twitter. You put messages on the blog. You might watch this on the blog, on Facebook. We'll respond to all of them. We'll get back to you. We'll just update you with some information. Some information. Sorry.
Yeah, some information.
Tongue-tied. I'm tongue-tied.
I think we're going for long enough now.
Yeah,
so
we're
I
going for
think
long enough. Yeah,
we'll call that a day.
Yeah.
So thank you all for tuning in.
Thanks.
Thanks for taking time out of your day to listen to us. Thanks for sending in your questions. And if you're already a customer, thank you for being a customer and helping us grow. And if you're not already a customer, strongly recommend you get in touch because I'm sure we'll be able to help you. You can contact us at studio@radio.co if you need any help. If you need technical assistance, just email help@radio.co. And of course, we've got loads of guides, reference guides that you can use, not necessarily just about Radio.co, but just in general. So there's plenty of guides on the Radio University to teach you how to use all of your mixers and build your websites and stuff like that.
So definitely, if you want to start your station, definitely head on over to try.radio.co. And thanks for tuning in. So we'll see you next time, guys.
Yeah, see you next time.
See ya.